Colleen Hoover, American author of All Your Perfect and A Memory Will Tell You About Us, returns after years of absence with It Ends With Us. It Ends With Us. Halfway between a classic romance and a psychological thriller, it is the first of two books. Unique, touching, shocking and moving, albeit in a simple way and with a pinch of comedy, it addresses the delicate issue of domestic violence with a clear invitation to reflect: does love really mean forgiving at all costs? Will the protagonist be able to put an end to a toxic and harmful relationship? It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover is a challenging book. With a modern and flowing read, it is nevertheless shocking, like a complicated psychological thriller but with an unexpected ending. Unlike classic romance novels, the author had the ability and courage to subvert the stereotype of the bad boy. She has put aside the classic cliché of the toxic man with a heart of gold, focusing on the aspects of a sick relationship, characterized by emotional dependence, without leaving out any detail. The writer's pen gives three-dimensionality to the characters, so much so that it is difficult to establish who is the monster of the situation, who is right and who is wrong. The daily dynamics, the past decisions that spill over into the present and the future, complicate things, making reality harder than you might think. Lily Bloom, the protagonist, lives in Boston, where she moved about 3 years ago for university studies, leaving behind the town in Maine where she lived with her parents. Her father was the mayor of the town, Plethora, a successful man, reputed as a benefactor, but in the privacy of his home he is anything but a violent man who has always oppressed his wife, beating and raping her. The time frame of the book begins on the day of Lily Bloom's father's funeral, where we find her mulling over her failed speech in honor of her father, given that she had absolutely no positive memories of him. While she is lost in her thoughts, astride the parapet of one of the tallest buildings in Boston, a man enters the scene who will change her life, Ryle Kincaid. The man had climbed onto the terrace of that building because he needed to vent his anger, and we see him kick a chair. This is the first meeting between Lily and Ryle. Ryle is a neurosurgeon, an ambitious man who seems to shy away from stable relationships, very charming and aware of his own charm. A spark immediately ignites between the two, and a way of communicating is established between them that will be based on truths said crudely, like when Ryle tells her after a few minutes that he would have gladly slept with her, or when Lily confesses things to him that she has never told anyone. The first meeting ends like this, with no possibility of meeting again except by simple chance. It Ends With Us, Lily's diaries. The death of her father, seen as a liberation for herself and her mother, makes Lily dust off her old diaries. Diaries that she wrote in the form of letters addressed to the famous television host Ellen DeGeneres, who was Lily's idol in her adolescence. In the book, the diaries are used as flashbacks of Lily's past. Through them, we can glimpse what Lily's adolescence was like, a carefree adolescence, always fearing the umpteenth violence from her father towards her mother, the persistent hatred towards him, and the disappointment towards her mother, who was totally submissive. One of the few things that Lily appreciated about her house was her garden, where she could dedicate herself to her vegetable garden and take care of her great passion, gardening. But here Atlas appears in her sad adolescence, an 18-year-old who attends the same school as her and who is homeless. His refuge is a house that has been empty for years and is located in front of Lily's house. Lily slowly begins to get closer to him because she feels a deep compassion towards this sad and gaunt homeless boy. A slow approach that leads them to know each other more and more deeply and to trust each other. They have in common a history of family violence, a violence that in Atlas' case culminated in him being thrown out of the house by a violent stepfather, condemning him to poverty. Lily is the only person who worries about him, takes care of him, and in fact it will later be discovered that it was thanks to her that Atlas did not choose suicide as a way of escape. The two fall in love with a healthy love, made of tenderness and care for the other and a sense of mutual protection that encourages them to face life with determination. But Atlas can't continue to live like a pauper, hiding in Lily's house, while his parents are away, forever. And Atlas gets the chance to start living a normal life again when his uncle from Boston tells him that he can go live with him, finish school there, and then one day sign up for the Marines. But before moving he promises Lily that as soon as his life is serene enough, He will go and look for her and they can finally live their love freely. And Lily promises herself that surely she too would be able to get to Boston one day, to get to know this city where everything is possible and everything is better, as Atlas always told her. The flower shop, new encounters with Ryle and Atlas. Months after that first meeting with Ryle, Lily has found the determination to start her big dream, to have a flower shop and dedicate herself completely to her project. Coincidentally, Lily hires a sales assistant, Alyssa, who turns out to be Ryle's sister, and thanks to this coincidence, read as a sign of destiny, the two meet again. As time goes by, even if at the beginning Ryle was always reluctant towards serious relationships and preferred to focus on his ambitions as a neurosurgeon, Lily and Ryle form an increasingly strong and assiduous relationship, which amazes both Lily herself and Ryle, and also her sister Alyssa, who in the meantime becomes Lily's best friend and confidant. In the first part of the book we see how Lily is completely taken by Ryle and the feeling is reciprocated. Ryle's initially elusive behavior transforms, becoming more and more present and showing sincere interest in having an increasingly close and intimate relationship with Lily. The love between the two is very passionate and vigorous, described by Lily with very different tones compared to the words spent for Atlas. Just when the relationship between the two is taking off, Lily, Ryle and Lily's mother, who in the meantime has moved to Boston to be close to her daughter, go to dinner in one of the best restaurants in Boston, and it is in that restaurant that Atlas works. Lily and Atlas recognize each other and then have a brief meeting outside the restaurant where they tell each other that they are both engaged. The meeting with Atlas initially makes Lily doubt her feelings, who has been waiting to see him again for 8 years and who in all these years had kept her love for him, but the story with Ryle is going swimmingly, so she convinces herself that perhaps it went better this way. Ryle's violent love in It Ends With Us. Lily feels that her life has finally taken the right direction, and all her dreams seem to have come true: a successful shop, a mother finally at peace and safe, Atlas's knot now untied, and a wonderful relationship with a charming, ambitious man who loves her madly. But the right direction turns out to be a delusion. One evening at Lily's house, after drinking and making love as usual, Ryle drops a baking dish from the oven after slightly burning his hand, and Lily bursts out laughing. At that moment Ryle's anger explodes, an element that had already been seen in him during their first meeting, and he pushes Lily with hatred, making her hit her head and causing a visible wound to her temple. This is the first violence and Lily is dismayed. It was everything she has always categorically refused, and she finds herself in her mother's shoes. But Ryle begins to convince her and he shows himself to be deeply sorry, so much so that in order to rush to heal her he slightly cuts his hand with the remains of the baking dish. Lily begins to convince herself that it could be a single episode and that Ryle cannot be like his father. Chance brings Lily and Ryle back to the restaurant where Atlas works, who, seeing Ryle's bandaged hand and Lily's wound, immediately understands that something is wrong. And he tries to convince Lily to leave Ryle, finding the opportunity to talk to her while she was going to the bathroom. Ryle, however, notices the meeting and the two contenders begin to argue with each other. Atlas goes to see Lily at her shop and apologizes for what happened, but warns her and hides a note with his number in her cell phone, telling her to call him if she needs him. Marriage in decline. Lily manages to forgive Ryle's violence thanks also to Ryle's revelation and request for help. When she was 6 years old, while playing with her older brother, she pointed a rifle at him and it was loaded, and her brother died as a result of the accident. From that day on, he can't contain his anger at times, so he asks her to help him. Lily then convinces herself that she can't actually compare his violent acts to those of his father, because his father had no motivation behind his violence. Therefore, the relationship seems to proceed again even if it is studded with more or less serious violence, so they decide to quickly get married in Las Vegas. But the peace lasts a few months. Ryle falls back into morbid attitudes, suspicion and obsessions towards a hypothetical feeling and clandestine relationship between her and Atlas, after finding the piece of paper with his number on the back of Lily's cell phone, which leads to an unheard of violence towards her and culminates in an almost rape. As soon as she recovers, Lily seeks help from Atlas, who hosts her in his house. She will stay there for a few days after finding out she is pregnant with Ryle. Lily is very confused now. She cannot be happy with the new life she brings with her and her life is crumbling. In the meantime, Atlas tells her that he will always be available for her, whenever she needs him. The ending of it ends with us. Lily is pregnant but doesn't tell anyone. In the meantime, Ryle decides to spend a few months away for a specialization and above all to calm things down. Months pass and Lily the idea matures of the impossibility of continuing the relationship, but she is also expecting a child, and sometimes she would be tempted to forgive Ryle because she still has a great weakness for him. Ryle returns, learns that Lily is pregnant and is very excited and seems already in love with the daughter who will come. Even if Ryle appears balanced again, and respectful of Lily, as soon as the baby is born, who will be called with the same name as Ryle's older brother, Lily actually understands what decision she has to make and chooses divorce. 11 months later, Lily finds herself casually with Atlas and they can finally be freely together, as they had been waiting for years, to continue their serene love, made of tenderness and protection. Above all, a healthy love. The plot, overall, is heartbreaking and shocking despite being narrated by Hoover with a skill and mastery typical of the American writer. While the first pages open like the most classic romance, the middle of the book presents some comical sides. The episode in which Ryle kneels in front of Lily begging her to come to bed and completely exhausted falls asleep a moment before he can finish is hilarious. But these moments are brief, the reader's smile vanishes, leaving room for other emotions: fear, anger, impotence and even emotion, when the plot is tinged with a dark black. Queen of painful love stories, Colleen Hoover nevertheless gives a glimmer of hope at the end of the narration, revealing a stronger, more aware, extraordinarily courageous Lily and capable of saying enough to a toxic and sick love. The book ends on a high note and with a striking phrase: "It ends here. With me and you. It ends with us." During the promotional tour for the film, Lively received criticism from social media users who accused her of being light-hearted and humorous and for not explicitly addressing the issues of domestic violence and abuse her character endures. Users were also critical of Lively for promoting her new hair care line while promoting the film.
Here we are. Of course we saw a short preview. You can see them whole in the YouTube channel of the voice actress and creator Giulia Segreti. She is a voice actress and actress. With her voice it brings strong emotions. She is Italian. In her videos you can also activate all the subtitles. Just go to the YouTube video options and then choose the language. We talked to Giulia. She uses her own voice in an innovative and particular way.
È vero, non hai avuto un buon esempio, ma hai imparato a mie spese che dagli errori si impara e si diventa persone migliori.
And she is popular on the web. She opens her self-titled YouTube channel and starts uploading audio readings of modern books in collaboration with male voice Baron Mark Keel. She also does commissioned audio readings from many female writers. Giulia and Baron are also a couple in real life. They met on the web.
Senza di lui la maggior parte del lavoro non era possibile. Ci siamo conosciuti attraverso la grande passione per il doppiaggio e per le letture.
Giulia was looking for a male voice for her projects and then she learned that she was a neighbor. You have dubbed some important films and participated in various famous Italian TV programs. Giulia is also a Spotify artist. She realizes with her voice covers of her recited. She's a writer. She has acted in the theater in various shows and fairs. For some years she was also the speaker on the radio and currently she is the voice of important radio commercials. Her voice is also on Audible. In fact, she also makes audiobooks. In short, she does many things in one day. She likes to tease with her voice and has managed to work with her voice. She loves animals, she loves being with her boyfriend. It's hard to sum up her life. I suggest you visit her YouTube channel. There you can hear and see her work. While her private life and her other passions can be seen on Instagram.
Io, insieme a voi, ho una lunga strada da percorrere. E mentre percorriamo insieme questa strada, altre persone si uniranno.